Hey everybody, it's Jimmy and Bill. So today's video is about, should you buy a condo or should you buy a townhouse? They're not the same. So we're going to do the pros and cons of owning a condo and the pros and cons of owning a townhouse. Maybe it can help you decide which one's better for you. In the meantime, if you like these kind of videos, consider subscribing. It's greatly appreciated. It helps out the channel. So here we go. So basically a condo. A condo is mostly, and Bill, this is going to be a free-for-all. A condo is basically a unit inside a building, usually multiple units. Okay, and you own from the walls in.
Right, exactly.
So they could be multi-stories, and that's pretty much it. You have a lot of hallways.
Yeah, the condo could be, you know, condos come in all shapes and sizes, as do townhouses. So, you know, a condo typically, by tradition, is exactly like you said. You've got multiple units on a floor, whether it be an open balcony,
Yep.
you know, floor, or in a closed, more traditional, what you would think of a high-rise building.
Yeah.
And, you know, then technically, condos could be one story. Technically, they could be one story. It depends on how they register them.
Yeah, but most of the ones I see is multi-stories.
Multi-story.
Yeah, 2 floors, 3 floors, and we'll go over the pros and cons. But basically, you own from the
drywall in.
From the drywall in. Now, townhouse is unique. So basically, it's like a 2-story house most of the time, with a shared wall with another townhouse.
Correct.
But you know, the townhouse you can have a garage, and you can have a backyard. So it's not a standalone detached house.
Right.
And you still have common areas, but that's the difference.
But they're more yours. It's more open. It's more, that's closer to, it's like your hybrid. That's a split between owning a single family home and a condo. So you have kind of the best of both worlds there. You have a little bit of joint connection with somebody else, but you still have that feel of a regular home. Yeah.
So let's talk about, in my opinion, one of the things that I think a townhouse beats a condo on, and that's privacy. I feel that in a townhouse, at least the ones I've been inspecting and going into, you have more privacy than a condo. Because remember, in a condo, once you go out that door, you're in common areas.
Right.
But on a townhouse, you go out the back door and you're in your own backyard. What do you think?
Right, yeah, you've got a, most of them you'll have just a little, however the width is. So townhouses, they're not as spread out width-wise, they're usually longer and taller. To, you know, for space savings, because that's really why they kind of got into them. And then you'll have a little fenced area and maybe a little tiny patio on the back, and that's your space to do pretty much what you want within reason. So, and you don't necessarily have that in a condo. You've got a, you know, because it's multi-story, so you're going to have an outside area, hopefully a little balcony, but it's a balcony and you're in the air, so you just, it's, you're limited as to what you can do there, obviously.
Yeah, so basically, I think on this particular scenario, a townhouse wins.
Yep.
All right, Bill, I got one. So between all the inspections that I do on townhouses and condos, I feel that condos are more affordable. So basically, I could be doing a condo in the same neighborhood as a townhouse. Both of them say 2 bedrooms, 2 baths. But at the end of the day, the condos are cheaper. What do you have to say?
Typically, yeah. So, you know, the condos, they're kind of sharing that expense. You know, it's a community living in a small space, you know, so it's a smaller plot of land. There's a whole bunch of owners taking care of the paint, the insurance, you know, they divide that all up, obviously. You know, the roof, it's all part of those, all part of that fee structure that they have. Then you're going to have like a townhouse, and that's going to be like your happy medium. It's, you know, you've got a little bit more like a single family home where you're independent living. You know, you're still connected by a joint wall or two, but you know, you've got a little bit more freedom in there versus that, you know, townhouse where you're taking care of a lot of your own stuff.
Right. Right. So, okay. So at the end of the day, condos most likely will be cheaper than a townhouse.
Most likely, yeah. And some of it's, you know, location driven and things like that as well.
Yeah, of course. So here's one. Benefit of a condo. The maintenance on a condo, I feel, may be cheaper than a townhouse because you're more responsible for more things in a townhouse than a condo. Am I wrong or am I right? It's just my opinion.
So you're saying you think the maintenance on a condo is, for the fees, is less?
Yeah, basically the overall cost, the overall, because on a townhouse, yes, you have an HOA and they take care of a lot of townhouses, they take care of the stuff outside, but you may be responsible for the roof on a townhouse.
Right. So a lot of times the roof will be covered, but there are condos, excuse me, there are townhouses that the roof is not covered. So that's one of those you have to ask the question. On a condo, that's more of a, you know, commercial structure. It's a little bit different animal. So, but it's a very, very good question to ask. Is the roof covered a part of your fees, you know, association fees when you're looking at a townhouse? So again, it could be a different balance. And, you know, we've talked about this before. Sometimes places include, you know, community trash, but neighborhoods do that as well.
Right.
So it could be a different split. And then there's different requirements now for condos as far as maintenance goes with, you know, they're typically going to have a fire pump because they're going to be multi-story. Fire pumps are expensive. Sprinkler systems are going to be required in them, not to necessarily retrofit, but sprinklers are going to be required any new building, any new condo building. So that's added extra expense. So it could tip the tide.
All right, let's go into insurance then when we're talking about this. Okay, insurance on a condo. Basically, the condo association pretty much has a blanket coverage that covers everything except the walls inwards in your unit. Is that correct?
Yep. So they're going to have what's called a master plan.
Yeah.
And that's going to cover the condo, the structure itself, things of that nature. Then you basically are going to get a insurance policy specifically for drywall inward.
So that's like a renter's insurance policy.
A little bit more than a renter's insurance policy, but you're pretty close. There's a specific number and I don't recall what it is.
Yeah, we're not insurance
I'm not an
agents.
insurance person, so.
We're not insurance. Ask your insurance professional.
Yeah. But you tell them you're going to buy a condo and you want to get a quote on that, so the insurance is going to be a little bit less because the master plan covers all the structure.
But okay, so the insurance, everybody shares the cost of insurance, but on a townhouse, from what I'm seeing, they get their own policy to cover a lot more.
Yeah, most of the time your insurance is pretty much going to be exactly the same. Again, I'm not an insurance agent, and every deck page or declaration page for the townhouse could be different of how they set things up. So that's why those declaration pages going to your insurance provider to get a real honest quote is important.
Yeah, I have one. I think and I feel that condos are much more secure with security and stuff, because say you go away for a long time, on most condos it's just one door.
Right.
You go in and you go out, you lock that one door. But in a townhouse, you can have patios, you can have a back door, you can have a front door. So I think when it comes to security, if you're worried about, like, if you're going to be a snowbird, basically, like here in Florida, you come down for the winter, but then you leave for spring and summer. It's nice that you'll be able just to go into a condo, leave, and just lock one door.
Yep, you shut your door down, you turn off some of the breakers, and you're good to go. And that's what a lot of people do, and that's what a lot of people use the condos for, because of the simplicity of closing them up and leaving for several months to travel. And you do that, simply shut down some breakers, you know, turn off the breaker to your water heater, turn the water off, and so you don't have a leak while you're gone, and you know, you're closed up. And then you've also because of your close proximity to other people, you typically know your neighbors, and everybody kind of helps each other out. And if they see something going on with your unit, they're going to give a call. The condo usually has a management company, which you could give them a master key to get in case of an emergency. And people just take care of things there a little bit more than, you know, a townhouse, because that townhouse is going to be more like your home. If something happens,
yeah,
it's your house.
So basically, on security, I think a condo wins.
Yeah, I would give that one a condo.
Okay. All right, let's go into another one. Bill, you got one offhand?
So, you know, HOA restrictions,
All right.
assessments, things like that. So when they're kind of, this is probably going to be a 50-50 split. Let's see how that pans out. So, you know, condos are going to have rules and regulations, you know, just like, you know, a townhouse. When can you use your pool? Now, one of the condo ones is you can't have a barbecue grill on your patio. You have to go out to the common area where they have a grill set up. And a townhouse, typically you can have a barbecue grill on your patio because it's the ground floor.
True.
So it has to be, you know, whatever your requirements are away and the rules that are set up. But that's one of the things that the community association governs. The color of, you know, painting your house, when you paint your house. Those are both going to be dictated by the association. So you don't have control over those things.
You're talking about the townhouse?
Both.
Okay, yeah.
Both. That's why I said this one's probably going to be a good 50-50 split because you have, you know, you don't have control over painting and you don't have control over those types of things. Thank you. On either of them.
Mm-hmm.
You might be able to do some things, but
so basically they both have rules.
Yeah, I don't think any one of them has any more or less rules. Both of the, you know, both of them can do an assessment.
Mm-hmm.
So kind of on the assessments, let's say a townhouse, you know, the assessment would be divided amongst everybody in the building.
Yeah.
So maybe it's less, but things are more expensive and there's a lot more things to repair typically. Like I said, sprinkler systems, fire pumps, you know.
So yeah.
Big ticket items, elevators, really big ticket items. So the roof is a lot more expensive, but you also don't have to replace it nearly as much. So again.
But also in condos, just there's a lot more units to share. Townhouses might be a bunch, like maybe 6.
Maybe,
you know,
yeah.
You know, maybe 6 attached to each other.
Yep.
Like I haven't seen many more than that.
Mm-mm.
But I've seen condo buildings that have 80, 100 units.
Absolutely, and then you're dividing it amongst it. You know, fire pump's a fire pump for the height for the building, and you know, you share that cost. So it does kind of offset it, and that's only if they're going to do an assessment. So if you've been paying your dues and they've been managing it well and doing their valuations every 10 years or so, you should be in good shape.
So overall, you know, in my opinion, and Bill, I just think a townhouse is better than a condo. Because my number one reason is privacy. I like having a backyard. I like having a garage. And
right.
Even though I have a neighbor with an attached wall, there usually is a firewall between them, so you don't really hear the next door neighbors. Right.
Like in a condo, you can't do something as simple as change your oil. You know, you can't work on your cars really.
You can't wash your car.
Yeah, it's sometimes washing your car. Some of them you're lucky enough to have a wash station, but it's one. If you're lucky enough to have that, you'll have to go somewhere else. You know, a townhouse, you've got that flexibility to do, you know, you can't do, most neighborhoods themselves have restrictions on things, but if you need to change your oil or just tinker with your car a little bit, change your brakes, whatever it is that you're into, you know, as long as it's not up on blocks for a month, but you have a lot more flexibility there.
So basically on a townhouse, I consider it like a house with less maintenance. So basically, usually in a townhouse, and there's an association that takes care of everything on the exterior other than your immediate patio and stuff.
Correct.
So yes, you're paying an HOA fee, but other than that, there's not a lot of differences because you have privacy. You can have 2 floors. You have more freedom to do stuff.
Right.
You know, so for me, it's a townhouse. Which one is better for you?
Personally, townhouse is better if I was going to move that direction, just because of the freedoms. I don't want to be stuck now. I mean, I love condos. Don't get me wrong, I want to buy one just because I like to be able to shut the door and leave.
So if you're traveling.
Yeah, if I'm a traveler, that's different. But unfortunately, I'm still working. So we're going to have to stick with something where I have some space and some flexibility.
Yeah. So at the end of the day, my opinion, it looks like Bill's opinion too, is a townhouse wins. So if you can find a townhouse that's affordable over a condo, do it. If you can't and you need affordability, go with a condo. But that's today's video. Appreciate it like always. Again, please consider subscribing. It really helps out the channel. And I'll talk to you later.
See you on the next one.
Bye.